saying. Disappointed in the way the second half went last week. I thought, that we couldn't get any momentum in the second half. I think we go 3 and out the first series. They go down and score. We come back, throw an interception, they score again, and then we never regained any of that momentum. They had it, grabbed it, and kept it. And then, just handed the ball to Zero and couldn't get him down. And, and then obviously the outcome was not what we intended for it to be. But at the end of the day, we got to do a better job coaching. We got to do a better job executing. Obviously when we're executing and, our guys are doing that, we compete with anybody out there. We've shown that this year. We have not sustained that throughout the games, and thus the results. So we got to do a better job as coaches, as players and everybody in our organization. We're going to do everything we can to come out here and win this game this weekend. We've got a great opportunity in our stadium in Nippert, in front of our fans that are unbelievable, to come out and put on a very good product on that field and go out and get a win. Here's two teams right here. They're in very similar situations, and you think about, two programs over the last years have done a great job of winning a lot of football games. We're sitting here in very similar positions, here toward the end of the season in their first season in the Big 12. And, it's been difficult, obviously, for both programs, as you think about it. And really both, I'm watching them this week, they've done they've played some outstanding football at times. I mean, their offense is unbelievable. Their defense can really run and somehow, have not won games. And, I think, same for us, turnovers has been a big factor in that. I think for both teams, it's eerily similar, I think, when you look at that. Both teams can run the football. They're I think we're 6th in the country in rushing the football, but we're number 3 in the Big 12. They're number 1. So I think there's only 6-yard difference there or so, but they can run the football very well. And it really has come down to turnovers for them in some of their games. And so we're excited about going out and playing them. We're putting everything we can to win this football game. We're going to play the players that we think can give us the best chance to win this football game, and go out and try to play the very best game we played this year. It is Military Appreciation Day. We're excited, to be able to honor our military, which was important to me, important to all of us. We are wearing a special decal. You guys can see that on the helmet here, which is a U.S. With a naval ship, USS Cincinnati, I think based out of San Diego, which is awesome. And to be able to wear that this weekend and honor those guys, and appreciate everything that they do. But talking about some injuries, we did get banged up a little bit in the last game, particularly at running back. Miles, had another great run, explosive. That's 2 games in a row, which we love that. Corey ran extremely hard. Both of those guys, I foresee both of them playing. I think they both will be out there at practice today. Potentially a little limited, but it will be out there at practice. So I think they'll be good to go. We're hoping to get Ryan Montgomery back healthy, so he can help in a little bit in the return game, kickoff return game, punt return game, as well as at running back. Ethan Wright, I can't remember if I mentioned this, but he's not going to play the rest of the year, so he's out, just trying to heal up his back. I think so. He's going to be out. Dingle's the other guy, got banged up a little bit, but practiced Sunday, so he'll be ready to go. At this time of the year, we got a lot of guys beat up and banged up, but that's the way it is. We talked about this earlier, where you got to play some more guys, and we played a lot of guys. Dorian will be back this week, missed last week's game due to the passing of his grandmother. And so that's good to be able to have him back as well. But listen, like I said, we're doing everything we can to go out and play the very best game of the season and go out and try to get this win.
You got a little bit of an extended look at Brady Lichtenberg towards the end of that game. Was it enough to take a look at quarterback this week, or are you?
Yeah, we're gonna. I think Brady played well there. Got a touchdown drive, was awesome. Good play by AT in the end zone. Did some really good things for us. He certainly made the case to play some. We'll continue to battle this week in practice and see where we're at with that. But certainly could foresee him getting some time in the game and playing. And again, we're trying to do everything we can to win. So if he can get out there and if he'll give us the best spark to win, then we'll certainly go that route. But we'll see how this week practice goes.
I asked you some of this the other night, but in baseball terms, you're out of the pennant race. This is when the late season call-ups. You mentioned Barry Jackson. Anyone else that's going to get in there, and is there any foreseeable chance of Drogosh even getting snaps?
Well, I think, again, I'll reiterate the fact that we're still trying to compete to win this football game. You get 12 opportunities, 12 chances. We're going to do the best we can to try to win these games, these remainder 4. But I'd mentioned this earlier that Barry's a guy that we want to play in 4 no matter what. Our record's going to be. We want to play him in 4. We've really been gearing him up the last few weeks just to, so when he gets an opportunity to play, that he'll know what to do out there. And, so he could certainly be a guy that maybe gets some time out there over at least 3 out of these last 4 games. And now you got to see which ones that may be. But he certainly is a guy that we could get in there, as well as some others. I think we're going to try to win the football game, so we're going to try to play the best guys we can play to win the game. Not a scenario where we're just going to play freshmen just to play them. We're going to try to go out there if there is an opportunity to play some freshmen and get them in the games, because we had that plan all along anyway. Then we'll continue to do that.
End of the first half, you had the 2 run plays. Second one, Miles got banged up a little bit. What was the motivation going with the 2 run plays and not taking a knee maybe, or taking a throw at the end?
Well, because I think at the end of the game or end of half, there's a possibility they're all sinking off, maybe to pop one. I've been in games before where, we against Virginia Tech one year, we go 90 yards for a touchdown right before half on just a running play. So you still got time on the clock. The thought is, let's go see if we can pop one. And the first play, I think we got 10. The second one, you miss a tackle, you may go to the house. Let's take advantage of that. But that was the thinking in that.
UCF is a team that you saw while at Louisville. How does that familiarity help with this week's preparation?
Yeah, different defensive coordinator this year. But at the same time, Coach Malzahn and going against their offense, we've been able to see that. I think it helps. I think it helps to know how fast they are. Because we played them, and and to be able to understand the speed of the game. Both running backs can really, really run. They have some wide receivers that can really run, and their quarterbacks can run. Both of their quarterbacks, can absolutely can do it in the run game. So I think that helps in the fact of just having an idea about that. But still, you got to go out there and play. We have not done a good job in explosives on defense. And they've done a great job of explosives on offense. So that's not a great matchup, for us this week. We got to do all we can to try to help keep them contained and not giving up those big plays. But, their backs and receivers have made big plays on everybody this year. But we have to try to do something to contain them in that regard. And I think defensively, some similarities from what they did in the past, because that DC was on staff there in the past, but I haven't played them, and I think more than anything, just personnel-wise, there's a lot of guys that we're familiar with over the last couple of years.
Neil?
You mentioned the running backs there for UCF a little bit. R.J. Harvey, Javon Baker, obviously on the outside. Just talk about the challenges those two can really bring to the table. Obviously, they can do so much that can really allude to the defense.
Yeah, it is. It's challenging. I think a couple things. They are. They're no huddle. They're going to tempo you and and try to get you where you're not lined up. We got to do a great job of getting lined up, recognizing formations, recognizing what they potentially could run in that formation. But you got to do it in a real quick time. I think that presents issues. Also, what they do with those guys and try to create space. They want their speed guys in space to where maybe you have a one-on-one opportunity there, and they feel like their guy's going to win that, because of that speed. And we've seen it, throughout this whole season with them watching the film, and that presents problems. R.J. Harvey's starting, but there's not much drop off, when Zero comes in and plays as well. So they can rotate those guys and still feel good about their running game.
You played a bunch of quarterbacks that were like 6 foot, 200 pounds. John Rice Plumlee is the latest one. Is he the better of the bunch? He can really hurt you with his legs and passing.
Yeah, he's as talented as anyone we've played. He was one of the fastest players at Ole Miss, and he's probably one of the faster players there. I've heard reports of 4.3, 40 on him. He did go out a few weeks ago with an injury, but he came back and he's wearing a knee brace, and it didn't slow him down. He's still running around. He's fast. He's an excellent player. He's a playmaker. Very confident in throwing the football as well. You know, and I think, you know, they try to present those issues with you on the outside where you're trying to stop the run, and now you're a little bit more one-on-one on the outside, and they feel like their wideouts can run. And Plumlee's got great confidence in his guys to go make plays for him on the outside as well. You know, so he's a true dual threat, one of the better dual threats in the country, and that's why, you know, they have one of the better offenses in the country as well because of that.
The run game being as good as it has been, does that make it maybe doubly frustrating that the passing game is kind of fits and starts, good
Yeah.
for a quarter, bad
Yeah.
for a quarter?
Yeah, just inconsistent, you know, and, you know, anytime you can run the football, it should open up and help the passing game. And, you know, for whatever reason, you know, we have been inconsistent, whether it be errant throws or drops or both, and then it just gets you off track, you know. But I think, you know, yeah, that's frustrating, the fact that we can run the football, you know, and coming into this season, had you told me, hey, you know, at this point in the season, after 8 games, you got to be 6th in the country in rushing, I'd feel, number one, I'd be surprised, and I'd feel really good about that. But I think I feel like our record will be a lot better too, because it does. It opens up so much more in the throw game. You also feel like you can control the clock that way, which helps your defense. You know, so there's a lot of reasons, and the fact that, you know, we had, you know, all new starters back on offense, and to be able to sit in there in this position, I'm really excited about our offensive line and backs, how they've been able to block and run the football this year, and that's been a true bright spot for us. Something that we certainly should build off of the next, you know, 4 games here, and you know, as we head into next year as well. I mean, just knowing that you got a lot of those guys back.
Piggybacking on that, you complete the first pass of the game for a huge chunk, and then I think 1 of 4 the rest of the first half. Was that Emory checking out? Was it not getting the looks?
It was, well, it was a little bit, you know, the weather wasn't great. You know, it was, you know, mist and rain. We tried to throw a couple balls. They were errant throws. And, you know, then, you know, as you're starting to call plays, you realize, all right, wait, should we and we were running the ball good too. So let's rely a little bit more on the run. Let's try to control it, keep their offense off the field. Let's run the ball a little bit more here. You know, not feeling great about throwing at that point. You know, we did try to call. We got a pressure. We got a holding call. You know, when we hit the in route, we hit who did we hit? Braden Smith. You know, for a big gainer, we get the holding. You know, so I think all those factors, which is why we didn't try to throw it as much early in that second quarter because of that. You know, but you know, you got to have those opportunities, and we got to take advantage of them. We didn't, and therefore, you know, played a little bit more close to the vest. And now, yeah, but it's a 10-7 game at halftime. You're still feeling good about it at halftime. When we coming back out, I was like, shoot, I feel good. Let's go. And then it just, you know, we did nothing, you know, and couldn't regain that momentum.
Dante seemed to really take that loss Saturday personally and put a lot of blame on himself. How does having a guy like that as a leader kind of letting everyone know that, you know, the players need to play better, execution needs to be better? How does that help you as a coach and staff?
Well, he's awesome. You know, Dante's been awesome. He's been great all year, all summer, leadership-wise. You know, particularly for, you know, he's a younger player, but to have the kind of leadership skills that he has, because he goes out every day and tries to get better, you know, which is what you want. He's a, you know, leader by example, but also, you know, he'll vocalize it as well. And he's one of our better players. So anytime you have your best player leading like that, I mean, it says a lot about your team. You know, and we got to continue to have that leadership. You know, the remainder of this season, and you know, he's certainly a guy that we're going to lean on to be able to help lead our team and get our team in the win column.
A lot of people are wondering, when you're in those 3rd and short, 4th and short situations, you like to go to the QB draw or out of the gun. Is it as easy as it sounds to do the QB sneak, or is it more complicated than a lot of fans may think it is?
Well, you're talking about sneak, quarterback sneak? Yeah. I mean, and we've utilized it some this year. You know, I think the Eagles have made it very popular. You know, you look at the NFL, a lot of teams have tried, but most teams have not done it like the Eagles. I think there is a lot more to it. You know, what we've also seen is defenses now, when you do go to the sneak, they're loading everybody up in the box, you know, with all their D-line is getting really tight to the center, and then having 2 linebackers right in those A-gaps as well. It makes it a lot more challenging. You know, but we've had some success with it, but it is a lot. I mean, if it was easy, everybody would do it every time. And, you know, so it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is. The Eagles do a phenomenal job with it. They have confidence in it, and then I think Hurts really believes in it as well. You know, but it is something that people have utilized, and we've utilized it, and you may continue to utilize it some, but I don't think you can go to that well every time. I think, you certainly have to be able to do some other things as well with that.
Helps to have Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, Kelsey's probably he's a little bit underrated when it comes to that because he's the center that they keep running it on behind every time, and it's got them a lot of first downs, and they certainly have the market on how to run it. That's for sure.
Mateer wasn't a factor in the stats at all, and he'd been really coming on. Was that just because of the game conditions, the weather, just the way the passing game was going?
Yeah, I mean, no, I think like I mentioned in the first half, with the cold, rainy, and Emory wasn't feeling good about it. A couple of errant throws, and we were running the football pretty good, and so you continue to want to do that. And then obviously in the second half, it kind of got away from us a little bit, and so now you're trying to do some different type things. But also Peyton played a little bit more in this game as well. And I think maybe that had something to do with it too. But I think the combination of all that is probably the reason why he didn't get his touches this week.
I believe there was 16 big plays that Oklahoma State finished with. The majority of those came on first and second down. What do you guys need to do differently defensively in early down situations to prevent that?
Well, we were just if you go back and look some of those explosive plays, guys not getting to their gaps, some linebackers, we're not getting to where they needed to get to. We're both guys need to be flowing over. We got guys splitting like this, and now it creates gaps in the middle of the field. It really came down to that. Then in the fourth quarter, we're playing some of our younger guys in the fourth quarter when he hits a couple of those long ones in the fourth quarter, explosives. So I think that's really what it boiled down to. As you think about the first half, we did a much better job of fitting where we needed to be. They hit the tight end on a touchdown. Our linebacker falls down on that one. That was a one-on-one coverage for an explosive. But other than that, we did a great job of hemming them up. I mean, that's the type of ball we want to play. Is we want to fit right and be physical at the point of attack, like we did in the first half. In the second half, it got away from us a little bit. Again, fourth quarter, you're playing some, other guys that hadn't played as much, trying to get them some time, and, they ended up hitting a few more on us at that point.
Any other questions for Coach? Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks, guys.